good morning, and welcome to the International Mastermind Think and Grow Rich show. My name is Galen Bingham. I am the leadership strategist, and I am just so excited to be joining you guys today as we talk about Think and Grow Rich and specifically the principle of specialized knowledge. This is going to be an incredible show. Not only do we have our co hosts, and we get to come to you and share this information with you again this morning, but we're going to have an amazing guest. And it's a guest who is no stranger to the Think and Grow Rich show. It is none other than Miss Johnnie Lloyd. She is just a phenomenal person. It's kind of hard to think of descriptors that we can use to describe her. I mean, she is certified by the Napoleon Hill Foundation, so she knows this information extremely well. But she is a financial guru. She is a three-time international best-selling author. You just gotta make sure you get some friends to watch this with us, because this is not a show that anyone should miss, because we're going to be talking about what it really takes to create wealth and power. I want to share this one thing before I bring on my co-host, because this is going to give you a little insight as to what we're going to be talking about with specialized knowledge. It says that this is reading from Napoleon Hill. It says that the accumulation of great fortunes call for power, and power is acquired through highly organized and intelligently directed specialized knowledge. So that's what we're talking about today. How do you harness the knowledge that's necessary in order to create the power that will generate the fortunes and the riches that we say that we want, however we define those riches. So with that, I want to bring in my co-host, because I could laud over Miss Johnnie for an hour, and I could talk about specialized knowledge on my own. But I know for a fact that Dr. Peter James won't let me do that. So, Dr. Peter, come on into the show. How you doing, man?
I am hanging in this morning, Galen. Good to be here with you all. Galen, the text in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich in chapter 4 says, any person is educated who knows where to get knowledge when it is needed and how to organize that knowledge into definite plans of action. Today, Galen, I'm going to be getting knowledge from Johnnie Lloyd. So I'm going to be taking my notes and really seeing how I can turn it into definite plans of action. Yes, I'm Dr. Peter A. James, excited to be here with you all this morning. Galen, it's going to be a phenomenal show. And I don't know about you, but I'm taking lots of notes because Johnnie Lloyd has this expertise going about her.
Oh my gosh, she never disappoints. And we actually had to shut her down before this because she was sharing so many gems before. I'm like, no, we got to save this for the show. Our viewers and our listeners need to hear all this information that she was sharing. So another person who is just brimming over with information, especially about specialized knowledge, is Miss Ann McNeil, the Master Wealth Builder. Come on in. How you doing today, Miss Ann?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, Ann McNeil, the master wealth builder, helping to build a stronger and better life and business. And with my new, yes, Galen, my new brand, hashtag the baby billionaire mom. We're talking about specialized knowledge today and with a phenomenal guest. So let's get this party started.
Well, all right. Well, hey, without further ado, I would just love to bring Miss Johnnie Lloyd in, have her meet the audience, have the audience meet her. This lady has done a little bit of everything. She has written books. She has traveled the world. She's got all kinds of projects that's going to take her around the world. But it's really going to be focused around this idea of specialized knowledge. So, Miss Johnnie, would you come in just for a minute and introduce yourself to the audience before we kick this show into high gear? Or not? I'll tell you what, while we're waiting for Miss Johnnie to come in, I'll tell you, Dr. Peter, talk a little bit about these 13. Oh, there's Miss Johnnie. There's Miss Johnnie. So, Miss Johnnie, come on in. Introduce yourself just a little bit. We were just about to go to the 13 principles, but before we do, would love to just have you share a little bit about your background, what you do, because I got the audience pretty excited about what you're going to be sharing, but I didn't share the real depth of what you bring to this conversation. So if you could do that, that'd be great.
Okay. The the main thing I would say about me is that my story, my backstory, and your backstory will lead to your destiny. My backstory is one from homelessness to being classified as a millionaire, right? However, it's not to impress you, it's to impress upon you that no matter where we start, we can grow to the next level, whatever that level is for you. And that's who I am. I'm effervescent. I'm the one that comes in and impacts the atmosphere. So that's part of my secret sauce. Instead of being like ragu, what I was trained to do for years is to generalize, I realized the power of me tapping into my ordained genius. So that is the key with me. That is how I roll. I am one person that comes into the room fully engaged, fully me, unapologetically bold and brilliant, but more than anything, I'm a person that cares about people.
Mm.
I impact people where you are. This is the Shamgar principle. I say start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. That
Mm.
eliminates and eradicates all ideas of what you can't. So I don't even deal with I can't. I say tap into your mind. This book helps you tap into your brain, the most valuable thing that you have, so that you can literally ask your brain a question. How can I? How can I? How can I shift? How can I do? And ask it a question. It will give you the answer. That is the power of this. So the key for me is I used to think power gave me an opportunity. Um, but power is really just potential, untapped. Until I implement it, until you implement your power, until you share, until you like, until you pass all this information to other people, not because you think they need it, but because you know that it would allow them to grow. So, what I ask people to do is this: every day, positively impact, add value, because I'm an accountant. I do money, I do multiplication, right? So add value to somebody's life, even if it's only a smile, if it's a kind word, but add value to someone's life and watch it come back to you, multiply. And that's the key of who I am.
Wow.
That's the key.
So no wonder why it's always hard for me to describe the totality of Johnnie Lloyd. So thank you so much for that. Peter, I mean, I would love for you to share about those 13 principles. She referenced so many of them just in her introduction. But if you could just take us through the totality of this system, that would be awesome.
Galen had already started to take notes. I forgot that I was actually part of the show. So let me go and dive on into these 13 steps, these 13 chapters that we know about so well. So again, those of you who are watching, those of you who may be watching a little bit later on, we are kind of revolving around Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, this infamous book, this well-known book overall. Within it, there are 13 chapters, 13 steps, 13 principles that really are the backdrop of this entire book that we hold near and dear to us overall. And this video that we're getting ready to dive on into allows us to see the overview of it all. But I encourage you all, if you have never picked up the book, if you have never read it, time, now is the time to be able to do so and dive on. And today, of course, we're diving into the power of specialized knowledge, but there's so much more. So take a listen.
Number one is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step two is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the mastermind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the mastermind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the mastermind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, but what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
All right. Well, there you have it. I mean, that's how all of this goodness works together. I mean, any of those steps individually would be amazing, but when you put them all together, that's where you see the real power from this process, from this philosophy. One of the things I also want to share from this text is that Napoleon Hill says that as knowledge is acquired, it must be organized and put into use for a definite purpose through practical plans. Knowledge has no value except that which can be gained from its application towards a worthy end. And that's what we're talking about today. So want to bring back in my co-host, going to bring back in Johnnie. And Johnny, I'm going to ask you for an example of how you are leveraging specialized knowledge in all the things that you're working on today. So start thinking about that. But while you're thinking about that, I want to acknowledge we got Renita Gordon. I see you. Welcome, Colette Coleman. Welcome, welcome. We see the Moorish Temple Amen Ra. Dr. Raquel Rubin. Oh my gosh, Wyman Winbush, you're in the house. Beverly Beard. Everyone is joining. I hope that you are joining us live. You can chat. You can join us in the conversation. And I'm actually going to give you some homework. If you're watching this, and this is for the very highly coveted GB points. I'm going to give you 100 GB points to everyone who puts in the chat. How are you using specialized knowledge? How are you currently using specialized knowledge in your work, in your life? Put that in the chat, and everyone who does, you're going to get 100 GB points. And while we're waiting on the chats, um, uh, Ms. Johnny, share with us, how do you leverage specialized knowledge and all the things that you're doing?
One of the ways that, first of all, I have over 47 years of accounting experience. So I have taken that experience and my life experience to help organizations flow, grow. As a fractional CFO, I come in and I help support them, but more than anything, I help them step off into their next level of success. So one of the organizations, a matter of fact, two of the organizations that I'm working with are really were devastated during the pandemic. And during that season, even though they got resources in, they really didn't know exactly what to do with them. And now they need to be accountable for all of that. And so, what I'm helping them do is separate, which is really powerful, especially if you have a business, separate your personal from your professional. Even if you're giving money to your business to help it grow. And then the other thing is to also help them stabilize by re-engineering what they desire at the end. Remember, Napoleon Hill talks about it's about desire, but it's also about seeing the vision. What do you see at the end? So we're doing that. And I'm also with another group. We're going to, one group is going to Mexico and another group is going to Africa as we help support them build business. Now, again, my area is money. My area is money. So the key about money is you have to give money an assignment. You can't just leave money out there. You have to give it an assignment. And I will say what Kevin Leary says is all of your soldiers, each dollar needs to multiply in a way that it gives you adds value to your goals, your mission, your vision, your definite major purpose. So that's what the right now that's what I'm doing is actually providing support to others. And again, the thing that most people have said about me is that I make hard things simple. So if you're looking at a way like you look at all accountants and all people that have a lot of accounting background, my special sauce is I make things simple and I actually care enough to find out what the person's interested in instead of just what I see to help them grow and build their business because it builds their life.
I love it. I love it. Well, Miss Ann, I know that you've got to be enjoying this conversation because every one-on-one conversation I have with you usually ends up with this encouragement. Galen, you need to specialize. You need to specialize. You need to niche. How are you? What do you think about this conversation and about how Ms. Johnnie Lloyd has specialized and she's niched, and that's how she's generating this wealth. What questions do you have? What comments do you have about this topic of specialized knowledge?
All right, Galen. really would like to give kudos to Johnnie in the work she's doing, the work she's done. And when you think about small businesses specializing and really using specialized knowledge, I think one of the biggest questions I have, Johnnie, and I do this, so I would assume that many people do also, and that is in sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding about these principles. Do you share the philosophy? Do you share this book? Do you share with your clients the need to specialize and then help them to understand what that looks like?
That's an amazing question. And the answer to that is absolutely. And the reason that I do that is because things are connected to your mindset. Your your head is connected to your heart, which is connected to your hand. So if our head is off, if anything is happening with our mindset, then what happens is impacts everything else. So what I've done is I've gifted books to them. But one of the things that I've found, because some of the clients I'm dealing with, believe it or not, still have either a CD player or all that. So I give them this packet right here on my back shelf. There's a packet that has Think and Grow Rich because a lot of them are busy. I said, play this while you're doing what, play it. And so it actually, um, they take on it. And you can tell after, I said, just chapter one. Let's start with chapter one. Start with chapter one. And then we talk about it. But the most powerful part, and I encourage everybody to use it, is the self-confidence formula. That just works. The thing that I love about Napoleon Hill principles, and the thing that I tell them, is principles work. It's not about them believing it. It's like gravity. It works. You don't have to believe in gravity to know it works. So I said, don't get caught up in the who, get caught up in the how it's going to impact you. What do you desire? And it taps them back into the place that they start desiring things. And I also include journals. I usually give them that too. They do a gratitude on one side where they're grateful. I said, find what you're grateful for. And then the other side is just let your mind run with ideas and innovative and creative thoughts. What are your desires? So that's the way I kind of bring the book in.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Galen.
Peter. I know I think it was last week, we got into a very rich conversation about, actually, it was this part of the book where it talks about those who are not successful usually make the mistake of believing that knowledge acquiring period ends when they finish school. The truth is, schooling does very little more than put one in the way of learning to acquire practical knowledge. And you were talking about acquiring degrees that doesn't help you, but the practical knowledge. And now we've got Ms. Johnnie talking about how she's leveraging all of her training, but she's doing it in a way that is around practical knowledge. What questions or thoughts do you have about what you're hearing today, Dr. Peter?
Wow. When I listened to that, that was amazing. Because when I heard Dr. Peter say, about not going to get his doctorate, I said, whoa, whoa. But the key with that is what you said was so powerful under two areas. One was a lot of people that are in school teaching, they have never used it in real life.
Mm.
So book smart is information. What do you do to get revelation? The revelation of it is to put it into practical, relevant pieces with consistency so that you can move forward. Right now, there's so much knowledge out there, and y'all talked about the fact that you can almost go and, well, actually you can, and Google based on specialized words. And I love when Galen said that last time. He said use special, and Ann brought it up, using specific words, because it's like GPS. If you don't put coordinates, you don't put an address in your GPS system, if you don't let your GPS system know where you are, it can't get you there. So the same thing with this knowledge from school or books or whatever is information. You have to take it to the next level and put it where it's potential power, but you have to tap into it. You have to give yourself chance to move forward. You have to look at how to purchase, and you need to look at how you digest the knowledge that you purchase. And so I really enjoyed that. And so to me, that was a powerful statement, because a lot of people that are sitting in schools are teaching children something, teaching us things. However, they have not necessarily experienced it. So make sure as you go out and get knowledge that you use accurate thought, use your wisdom to line it up to move forward. The how does it apply for you? That's what I would say.
Yeah, Galen, I just want to add to what she just said because it takes us back to the first principle in the book. And the first principle speaks to desire. And so everything that you're saying, Johnny, connects to that desire. And oftentimes we start out not knowing what we desire, and then we get degrees and we get jobs only to find our desire later in life. And now I'm better understanding when the author talks about the age of 60 plus
Mhm.
Mm.
before we really come into the understanding of these principles. So thank you for that, because that was a big aha in terms of getting all of this specialized knowledge, but for what use, to make what amount of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, Dr. Peter, we're still feasting off of what you shared last week. What other questions or comments do you have?
It was earth shattering, right? For sure. It's interesting. I just typed in the chat for our listeners, our watchers here. I believe that oftentimes we as people continue to go back to school because we're looking for a template. Ooh, right? So think about that. We continue to go back to school because we're looking for that roadmap that we think is going to be given to us on how to be successful in life. Some type of, again, maybe GPS that says go do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. But those of us who are on this journey know that there's no one roadmap. There's no one roadmap, which is why this research, which is why this continuing education on our own is so important, and not just formalized education. So Johnnie Lloyd, I'm so again fascinated by everything you're saying today. I actually, the one thing that stuck in my head is using the money, using your dollars as soldiers. I don't know why that stuck in my head, but I wrote that down for sure as well. As you reflect
The
on the journey, go ahead. You were going to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say about the soldiers, because I really like that philosophy. This is what I would encourage everybody to do, because remember, I teach money. I do money. I multiply, build wealth. So the key with it is you have to start valuing the dollar.
Hmm.
Most people want to be a millionaire, but they don't want to be a dollionaire. They don't want to value the dollar. They will go to and I'm going to give you an example, if I may. The dollar store here, I can't speak for where y'all at. The dollar store here changed their prices to $1.25. That's a 25% increase. People ignored it. I didn't, because I said 25%. They say it's only a quarter. It's a mindset. So we have to not just think about valuing our education or
Hmm.
information. We have to value what we have. When we stop valuing what we have, the power vanishes from it. I don't care if it's money, I don't care if it's relationship, all of those things, because it's about a holistic approach of building wealth. It's not one thing, it's everything in your life. So I encourage people to stay with the little things. And I love investing and things like that. Just start with the habit. Start picking up information, start reading the book, start chewing on that. And before you know it, your body is yearning for that.
Yeah.
Your body grows from what you feed it. So what are you feeding yourself? If it's only junk food, guess what? So that's what I would add to that.
So here's my one question for you there, Johnnie Lloyd. As we as we go back to the education thing, if you have individuals who have just finished high school, or maybe they're just finished college for that matter, and they want to accumulate wealth. They want to be rich. What do you say to them, outside of the whole continuing education framework that we've been talking about? What do you advise them to do as they're looking to do big things in their lives and maybe in their business as well?
Wow, that's a great question. And I think it goes back to purpose.
Mm,
Absolutely goes back to purpose. Um, because when you don't have purpose, then you end up running after the money, or you run after the
mm,
power, or you run after the prestige. And then when you get it, it didn't satisfy you. So then you start running after something else. So you end up not being satisfied with anything because you never recognize what your purpose is. So the key is not about the money. The key is about for what. So I do teen enrichment here in our area. It's we go back and we talk to teens, and I take the principles in and discuss it with them. The big thing about them is they're hungry. They're hungry. And so the key for us is hungry for what? So when I talk to them, to go back to your question, is I ask them for what? Well, I want to be a millionaire. For what? For
mm.
what? And they said, well, to buy stuff. I said, for what? So my question is, for what? So when they come back to it, they say, I say, even if you have all those things, when is enough money enough?
Mm.
And what are you willing to exchange for this intangible thing? So I believe that when we talk to youth and even us at any age, the question is so what? Now what? You're a millionaire. So what? Now what? I encourage people to be a millionaire, but this is the reason I encourage that. I encourage it for the person that they become. The person that you can become, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it's the can. It can achieve, right? So you can do anything. So it's that encouraging piece. However, so what? Now what? How do you go from rising yourself to raising up others? How do you move from success to significance? And most of the kids nowadays, they want to do something that's significant once they have the conversation. I hope that responds to your question.
Yeah, that's such good stuff, Galen. I again just loving all of these insights, writing notes, taking notes. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this specialized knowledge really is the key to generating wealth. And even I want to go back to the chat because we got a lot of people chiming in. If we go back to this was all for the GB points, but Dr. Raquel Rubin said that she uses her knowledge to self-master her life, to lead herself and others to more profits, health, and freedom. Uh, Renetta Gordon says she uses specialized knowledge by being a coach, able to engage coaches for growth and for being a coach to others. Beverly Beard, her specialized knowledge uh, uh, has allowed her company to niche in the area of plumbing that has been untapped for African American women. So she's even niching down to specific clients. It's a bit counterintuitive, but Miss Ann said it. The more you niche, the more people are able to identify who do I go to when I need this particular thing, as opposed to the person who can do a little bit of everything and they can serve a little bit of everyone. Let's see who else. Wyman Wimbush, as a teacher, consultant, coach, I make complex concepts on high performance leadership simple and easy to understand. I Perfect, perfect. So continue to think about and share how you use specialized knowledge. And then maybe a different question is, how could you use specialized knowledge? What's a specialized knowledge area that you might have, an expertise that you might have that you might not be leveraging? You might not think that there's opportunity in that area, and put that in the chat as well. Boy, I'm going to be dishing out some GB points. I can see that already. Miss Ann, I'd love to come back to you. Talk a little bit about um, this beta test that you're running, this annual meeting, because that's where a lot of people can get a more refined understanding of these principles that we're talking about. But not just learning the principles, but how do you use these principles in order to generate wealth and success in your life? So, talk a little bit about those two things.
Yeah, thank you, Gayla. I think that what we've been talking about really shines a light on the need to do what I call mental surgery with accountability
Mm.
through a mastermind group. And we don't know what we don't know. And one way to find out is to start a mastermind group. And if you're in a mastermind group, who's holding that group accountable at another level? And that's exactly why we formed the International Mastermind Association. And we're hosting a beta test for the good, the bad, and the ugly, a platform and a place to come and discuss how do you hold your mastermind group accountable, one, but how does your mastermind group hold you accountable, two, and how do you hold the individuals in your group accountable? And so when you think about best practices, there's no place where we have been able to find that use these principles for that purpose. So if you want to join us, you can go to internationalmasterminders.com/group mastermind. And you can register with us. And thank you, Renette. I got your message, so we're working on that. And in addition to that, here we go. So internationalmasterminders within us.com/group mastermind, and you can register to participate with that beta test. And it is a free beta test for now. All right. And then all of that culminates together as a part of our annual meeting that we're hosting for all mastermind groups and all individuals to join us once a year in January. In 2023, we will be at the same place, which is Boca Raton Embassy Suites on Yamato Road from January the 6th and the 7th. And we're asking all of you, bring your life in writing. Register now, bring your life in writing, and participate with us as we help you and your family and friends create an annual report for your life. That's the key. It is an annual report for your life. See, you're there. Please register now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Register now. All right, Galen.
Yeah, hey, I want to bring back in Johnnie Lloyd. There's a comment from Abundant Health Services, and they say that high school graduation it simply signals your ability to learn, adapt, execute, and ensure and complete. Um, Talk a little bit about what's the importance, or what do you see as the importance in creating the ability to learn? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about information and knowledge can come from anywhere, but if you don't know how to capture that knowledge, if you don't know how to integrate that knowledge into your current wisdom, it's just going to be interesting, right? You're never going to make anything of it. What are your thoughts about high school or any formal educational institution really just signals your ability to learn?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and it's probably going. The chat may go off. I'm gonna say regurgitating information is not ability to learn. Because I can take a test doesn't mean that I learned the information. That means I can repeat the information. Learning, I think, is a deeper sense because learning is about it's more than just information. It's about application. So the thing that I love about high school and middle school and all of those is that one of the strongest things I believe that can be encouraged is critical thinking. Napoleon Hill calls it accurate thought. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's so much information that's coming to our youth at every area, even us, that how do you separate? How do you pull out what you need without just, putting in your head or ignoring it all? How does it stop being something that distracts you and attracts you to a specific area of your genius? So that's what, but is it needed? Absolutely. Not knocking high school, not knocking any of that. And we all need to learn. Some of the things, not to take a test, learn with a strategic mindset, and also give give all of us the opportunity to learn about money, or in life, and to how to make great decisions. So one of the things that I like about what Napoleon Hill says in the chapter is he says the Latin word for educate is educo, which means develop from within. So developing from within aligns to Carnegie and Ford and so many others that didn't necessarily finish that didn't finish school. School wasn't the key. The key was to educate themselves. So the first space for education is self-awareness. And then I can maybe walk out, well, what was I created for? Why am I here? Right? Those major questions that help children help us all align to our definite major purpose. Because there's so much fighting for our attention that it can become chatter versus learning what matters, which is strategically aligning to specialized knowledge. That's what I like about specialized knowledge.
Wow.
What I like about it is that it causes you to go from here to here. To focus. So where your focus goes, your power flows. Wherever your focus goes, your power flows, your energy, all of that flows. So whatever you focus on is what you hold in great value. So focus on the things that matter. So help them focus on things that's going to help them in their life and help them know who they are versus what they're not. So that's
Hey,
the thing.
I'd love to bring in our professor,
Yeah.
Dr. Peter. This sounds a little bit like
I saw his face when I said it.
this
Well,
sounds.
actually, I
So talk a little bit about what you just heard and how
yeah,
it relate to what you shared in your last week.
I love it. I love it though, Galen. What you just said there, Johnny, is because oftentimes when we go to school, college, masters, we want to learn everything. We think in our mind that we have to know everything, and the college systems, especially early on as an undergraduate, they try to teach you everything.
Yeah.
Those general education classes that are pretty much everything under the sun. Don't get me wrong, there's a method to the madness. They want to expose you to all this stuff that hopefully you'll have an interest in one area, right? But oftentimes we're all over the place. And I love what Johnnie Lloyd said about the purpose, finding out what your purpose is so that you can niche down. Ann McNeil says it regularly. There's riches in the niches, right? But oftentimes we don't niche. We think that, and I don't know where it comes from, but we think that we have to know it all. And we really, really, really don't. And so those of you who are listening and watching, please convey that to yourselves, number one, but to those who are close to you. Don't be all over the place. Find out what you love to do. I always say, when students ask me, hey, I want to start a business, I don't know what to start a business in. I say, what is a hobby that you have or that you love to do? They'll think about it, and then maybe they'll tell me. And then I'll tell them there's somebody out in life who's making a ton of money from your hobby, but it's just not you. But it can be, right? So that's the thing about the niches there, Galen. I love it. I love that focus that Johnny Lloyd just mentioned, and hopefully someone got a small gem from that.
Yeah, yeah. So, Ms. Ann, it's one thing, and I tell this story a lot in my personal with my personal clients that I read this book many years ago just to demonstrate that I've read it, just to be able to say that I've read it, but I didn't do this level of in-depth study. What are your thoughts about hearing, how Johnny has been able to turn um, in-depth knowledge of these principles into, the millions of dollars that she's enjoying now and the work that she's doing, but it's the application of the principles. It's not just being able to say that, yeah, I read the book like I could do. It's actually using these principles to specialize and to niche. What are your thoughts about that?
In the beginning, there was Mr. Wimbush, Pastor Wimbush. In the beginning, there was the Word.
Hmm.
And the Word is in the first principle. You see, for many years, I did not understand, and I'm just barely getting it now. Why does the author ask the question, how much money do you want? Number one. Then he asks you, what are you going to do to get that amount of money? What kind of product or service? By what date? Number three. Number four is what's your plan? Number five, where's your affirmation? Number six, recite it twice a day. Everything in specialized knowledge goes back to that. Because if Johnny wants $1 million and she's going to sell pencils, how many pencils does she need to sell? That is not where the specialized knowledge comes from, you see. The specialized knowledge comes from, is she an expert in that pencil? Is she known in the industry for that pencil? Is she speaking and teaching on that pencil? So if you go back to the first principle, for many of us, it takes us years to find that pencil. We start off with the rowboat, we then go to the bicycle, we then get the pen, but only to discover that as we niche to be rich, it's the pencil. And all of these platforms, whether it's YouTube or Zoom, Facebook, social media, whatever it is, those are only platforms to help promote the pencil, to get a certain amount of money. And I had to go around there to say, this is one of the reasons now universities and philanthropists are rethinking education and how we're taught, because everything is so general. Now even trade schools in my industry are becoming more valuable than high school, than uh, an MS, a BS, or a PhD, because you're looking for specialists. And in the book, the author talks about specialist sought, and he gives us two examples. One was the accounting guy, and one was the lawyer. They found they made much more money by specializing. And so I would like to challenge not just our audience, but I'd like to challenge each and every one of us here on this podcast as a guest and co-host to really begin to rethink, what is that pencil for you? Because it means absolutely nothing if you don't already know how much money you want to make. Now let me give this confession. My confession is this. My pencil is the money and learning how to analyze the stock and how to invest. A $20 bill a month. I shared with Galen before the podcast started. I say I have a new brand. Yes, every 10 years I shine them up. And my new brand is niching to be richer. Niching to be richer. How? In my favorite book, not Napoleon Hill's book, but that other book, the Manual for Life, it says the greatest among you will serve. But I can't serve broke. The more I have, the more I can give. But I can't have more and give more if I can't make more. And I can't make more if I don't know how. And once I find out how do I add more digits? And you cannot beat and outwork your money. So every day, every single one of us get up and go to work. We trade time for dollars. But every day your money get up and go to work is exponential growth. So hashtag baby billionaire mom.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna need to circle this around, but I want everyone listening to this, everyone watching this, to put in the chat, I can't serve broke. That is a mic drop moment. I can't serve broke. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go around. I'd love to hear everyone's key takeaway from this conversation. Ms. Johnny, we're going to save you for last because we not only want you to share your ahas, we also want you to share the names of your 3 books because we got folks asking for the names of your books. So get that ready. Go ahead and put that in the chat because we're going to come back to you. But Dr. Peter, what were some key takeaways that you've taken from this conversation? And how can people if they want to get more insight and inspiration from you?
Yeah, that last thing that Ann McNeil said, it was solid, powerful. And the thing about it is, I'm going to put a caveat to that, Ann McNeil. You could serve broke, but think about what you can do if you weren't broke, what more you could do. And that's where I am. I want to be able to give back and serve at a level that's exponential, right? So therefore, I go back to going towards my niches. See, it would come back full circle. You want to give back, you want to do better for society, but then you're going to say, oh, you don't have to be rich to do that. No, you don't have to be rich to do it. But think about if you had some money to do it, what more you could do, right? So now let's go back to the education and now niching down to that specialization that will allow you to create a little bit of wealth to do so much more. We don't think about it from that perspective, right? So this is very enlightening. Thank you, Johnnie Lloyd. This has been a great show. My name is Dr. Peter A. James. You can find me on shiftyourmindset.com. Definitely stay connected. Got a lot of things brewing. Yes, we do coaching. We're getting ready to do some group coaching as well. Stay tuned. Galen, this has been another phenomenal show. We need to have you host every week, man.
This has been a great show. The way to have a great show is to have great content and great guests. So, Johnny, thank you so much for bringing the heat. Okay, Ms. Ann, what are some key takeaways for you from this conversation? And then how can people get a hold of you if they want to get more and learn more about not serving broke?
Well, let me just say, this is something I have a conversation with myself about serving a broke God. That's another show. When people see us and they know we are Christians and we love God and all of that, and during my broken period of my life, that helped to turn me around because I had to ask myself, am I really representing what He would like to have draw? I was not drawing, but I am now. What my aha moment from this podcast and this show today, thank you so much, Johnnie Lloyd. It was how you chose, Johnny, to string together all of the quotes, all of the aha moments. Excellent. That was my aha moment. All of the quotes, the aha moments, the words from the book, the principles. Excellent. Thank you so very much for that. My name again is Ann McNeil, and I am the master builder and the baby billionaire mom. You can connect with me by going to annmcneil.com/coaching, but only if you have a desire. I may not be for you. I may be, but only if you have a desire. We can help you in that journey of achieving it. So connect only if you have a desire. If you don't have one, you can connect with somebody else. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
All right, all right. So, Miss Johnnie Lloyd, come on back in here. This has been such a powerful conversation, and I know very often, even you can learn from hearing yourself. What are some of the ahas that you've taken from this conversation? And then how can people get a hold of you if they want to get more of this brilliance, or if they want to purchase and find out more about your best-selling books? You're on mute right now. Oh, you were off mute and then you went back on mute.
Okay. Okay, so
Yep.
I should be good now.
Yep.
Okay, so I am Johnnie with Johnnie Lloyd and Associates. The best way to get me is johnnyloyd.com. You can tap into all the books. I was going to grab them and show it to you. However, the best way to get them is that in whatever I'll make sure that I give you a special gift if when you order. The other way to get a hold of me, of course, is to go out to YouTube or Facebook. I'm not a lot on Facebook, but YouTube is a great place to hold on to me. And then my aha moment for here is to remind myself about niches get you richer. And the key with that is I have a decade manifest. This is the decade of manifestation for me. It reminds me that every 10 years to refresh, to renew. And so that came from the conversation because revelation is consolidated, it's not, just one person. So I thank y'all for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward to building the 7 spheres of wealth as we move forward and become not just successful, but significant.
Wow, that's powerful. That is great. That is great. And I a couple of my ahas. Uh, I've got so many. Number one, I can't serve broke, and I don't serve a broke God. So that's gonna be on my screensaver here for at least the next couple of weeks. But one of the things that Johnny said that really captured me is she said, everyone wants to be a millionaire, but people don't want to be a dollionaire. And do you value money? I had something happen this past week because I'm in the process of running 2 masterclass Think and Grow Rich masterclasses right now. So anytime things happen, I try to capture it and share it with the group. And I was 2 days ago, I was running my first errand of the morning. I got out my car, and right outside the door, there were 2 quarters on the ground. And so I took a picture of the quarters and I picked them up, put them in my pocket. And then after I put them in my pocket, I went in to run my errand. I got back out and I checked my phone, and there was someone asking me if I would be interested in facilitating a session for a meeting that they had coming up. And they told me how much they would pay. And it wasn't a whole lot of money, but they told me how much they would pay. And I responded. And right after that, there was another email from someone saying, Galen, there's a bigger event. There's going to be thousands of people that might be attending this event. Would you be available to be a panelist on that event? And there's an honorarium associated with you being a panelist, but the real benefit is you'd be exposed to thousands of people in your industry. And so I responded to that. And then after I got back to my office, there was an email from one of my clients in the UK. We had just ended our coaching engagement, and they were requesting, what would it look like if we did another engagement, right? Could you pull together a proposal for us to do another engagement for another 6 months? And I responded to that. And for me, that really drives home what Johnny was saying, that if I hadn't picked up those 2 quarters, because they were just quarters, would that have told the universe, I don't need any more opportunity? I'm good. And might those other opportunities had still come? They might have. But why take chances? Value money, value resources. Show yourself responsible over small things, so that the universe feels comfortable giving you larger and more important things. So thanks for highlighting that for me, Johnny. My name is Galen Bingham. I'm the leadership strategist. You can get a hold of me on any social media network or going to my website. But the most fun way to get a hold of me is by listening in to the Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership podcast. We share straight talk that you can't get from anywhere else. We are moving into our third season. I double dog dare you to try us just once. We are having incredible amounts of fun sharing insights from leaders from every industry, from every walk of life. And I just want to challenge you to check us out just one time on any podcast platform. And so again, I'd like to bring everyone back on the screen. All the co-hosts, and just again, we want to thank you, our listener. We want to thank you, our viewer, and ask you to continue to join us each Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern as we share some principle of Think and Grow Rich. But do more than just join. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that little bell so you can be notified every time we are going on the air, and then share that link with at least 3 other friends and ask them to subscribe. This information is only as valuable as it is shared. If I make $1 million, but I've got to give half of that to all my friends because they can't create wealth, then how much did I really create for myself? So this is information that needs to be shared. We're going to be coming back next Saturday as well. We've got another amazing guest, Miss Diane DeGino, and she's going to be talking about specialized knowledge as well. She is a psychologist. Just really, I mean, she's done a number of different things, but like Miss Johnnie Lloyd, she's going to be sharing with you, how do you specialize? How do you niche in order to make yourself richer? And by richer, we're talking about money, but we're also talking about health, wealth, information, friendships, relationships, all these different ways you could define riches. That's what could be accomplished, but only if you are prepared to leverage specialized knowledge. Again, my name is Galen Bingham. I'm the leadership strategist. And until next time, I really want to encourage you to think and grow rich. Take care.